Norway have beaten Brazil 2-1 in the round of 16 of the World Cup to secure their place in the last 8. This is history. This is a historic result. This is so big. This is so significant. This is gonna. We always knew this would be a big game in this tournament. We always knew this could be a decisive game. It could shape the tournament with both of these two being, kind of being, impressed in the last round. And coming into this game, I knew this could be one of the games of the round. This could be really, really close. It was such a hard game to predict as well. I see more and more people as it got closer to the game predicting a Norway win. And if you'd asked me before the tournament, I wasn't convinced by Brazil. That's what I would have gone for. I wish I'd stuck with that when I did my predictions for this round the other day, because I went for a Brazil win, but I did have a gut feeling that Norway could do it. I just think, Brazil, they may be a bit of a false awakening in that second half against Japan. But coming to this game, it really was going to be an interesting one to see who goes through. With the Mexico and England game being on the same side of the draw as well, so winners face each other. So we always knew if England went through, which of course we did. That video has already gone up, but it would be one of these two that we're facing the quarterfinals. So it was always really interesting. I mean, Norway are having their best ever tournament here already, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. They'll want to go further. They'll believe they can. They play with no fear, and they went to this game against Brazil with no fear. And this is what was so impressive. They was not at all intimidated or at all kind of afraid of the prospect of Brazil, of the name of who Brazil are, what they represent. They wasn't afraid of that at all. They went there and they took the games of them, and they played with no fear. They played their football, they played their way, and as a result they ended up being the better side convincingly, and the convincing winners. They are much more sharp in front of goal. They kept the attack quiet for the most part as well, controlled the game for large periods as well, dominated large periods, and it was so impressive. It was just such a crazy thing to see, how far Norway have come. The fact that that's what they can now do to the biggest teams, the fact that they are now one of the best, the fact they are now got to be in the conversation for this tournament of how far can they really go. Made the last 8. They've proven that they can match these teams. They've proven they can dominate games. They've proven that they don't gift away chances. They're solid in defence as well. But where they're real, and that's why they're going to be so hard to play against, because they're so good in front of goal. They create chances and they take them. And Harland, all you got to do, they've got those creative players now. All you got to do is get it in the right position for him. He'll score. Not even just on the plate for him either. He can score from further out. So we see those chances yesterday. Not tap-ins. The chances, fair enough. The work's been done. Fantastic build-up play to get him in those positions, but he's still got work to do as well, and he does it. So this is what I think makes the idea of facing Norway so scary for anyone in this tournament, anyone that's left. And as they grow, they're growing into it as well. As they go, they're getting better. They're getting more confident. They're getting more. There's more cohesion. There's more rhythm. There's more. There's more confidence. And the further a team goes, the more and more their style of play clearly works. And I'm so impressed with the manager. I'm so impressed with their improvement over the last few years. It's just been incredible. And Harland now, 14 straight games, 14 straight internationals he's scored in now, and that's just an unbelievable record. I've never known, never seen something quite like that before. And Norway, the form they're on, the run just continues. They blitz the qualifying. Then the first 2 group stage games that they win, they were good in. They were very convincing in those 2 games, and then against France they allowed them to sort of rest players. We never know what would have happened if they played the first 11. That game very much got away from them. But if they had taken the chances that day, which they were the one game they wasn't clinical in front of goal, they could have been different. But it was very much a second string team. Then against Ivory Coast, really, really tight game. It was always going to be Ivory Coast, very, very solid in defence, but they did find a way to get past them in the end. They had that cutting edge, and that's going to be the key. Norway take the chances, and the way they play, there's enough about them to suggest that they could keep doing this. They could go again in the next round. It'll be really interesting to see how it all goes. But I did say Norway at the start they could be one of the surprise teams. I initially had them coming this far, and I wish I'd sort of stuck with that when I did my predictions for this game, because I just thought Brazil, maybe we're looking at slightly better than I thought they would in that Japan game. But I always knew Norway would be one of the sort of surprise teams, or the outside sort of dark horse teams, and they've really lived up to that. I think they've been out of all the teams that were sort of, them and Morocco have been the 2 sort of dark horses that I think have really, that were picked out at the start of the tournament. I think have really sort of shone in this tournament. And Colombia have got to be there in that discussion as well. I mean, the US is the last 8 is made up of some, you know, could be made up of some teams that, you know, maybe not always that we've not seen get to that stage for a while. We could see the US get through. We could see Colombia or Switzerland, one of them to get through. So it's really going to be interesting to see how it goes. But as for this game itself, let's recap, because it was such a fast start. It's a frantic start almost, that first sort of 25 minutes up to that first drinks break, where maybe sort of fizzled, well, not fizzled out, but sort of calmed a little bit from the sort of frantic start we saw, where Norway are sort of on the attack straight away, and they counter-attack so well, they counter-attack so fast. This is the key. Their build-up play is fantastic as well. The goal was offside, but the build-up play is fantastic. Harland gets it in the position there to get almost to the edge of the box for the ball to slide home, and the flag goes up instantly, and after a check it is chalked off, which was an offside. It was expected, but it already is an early warning sign for Brazil with the pace of Norway. It was an early warning sign of what they could do, how fast they could be, how much they could hurt them on the counter-attack. We see them get caught out by something similar against Japan. In the second half they saw it out, but you know, it was always going to be a bit of a kind of a, you know, it's always going to, you know, that really I think was a bit of a warning. And from there, you know, the fast sort of start continues. Brazil, they do win themselves the penalty around the 20-minute mark, and you know, this is what I mean. Both teams, I feel, backed off each other slightly for the remainder of the first half. After this, both teams was giving each other a warning of like, yeah, this is what we can do to each other pretty much. But I puts in the foul on Cunha, and it is a penalty. I don't know why initially the referee doesn't give it and then gives it. I know they're trying to be lenient, as we discussed with the Paraguay-France game, but you have to be a bit careful, because if you be too lenient as a referee, you end up with a game like that. But of course, this is a penalty, but whether, you know, the VAR takes a while to give it, I don't know why the referee just can't just give that straight away, why he didn't give it initially. But yeah, I mean, whether it's because where the referee was standing, it looked like he won the ball, but I don't know. You can see on, and it looks initially like I might have got his, even just a ever so slight touch on the ball, which if he did, there's an argument to say that he played the ball, he won the ball. But because of the replay, and to be fair, this is where VAR does do its job properly, you can clearly see that there's no touch on the ball, or if it is, it's so minimal that the contact on the player comes first, and he's gone through the player before he's gone to the ball, which there was never really any contact on the ball anyway. So it had to be given as a penalty, which it was. And now this is a real chance for Brazil. After that sort of early let-off, they've got a real chance here to get themselves in front, get themselves in a commanding position in this game at a key point in the first half. And then think life could look a lot more comfortable for them being 1-0 up. However, Bruno Guimaraes does not take this penalty right. There's been some fair few missed penalties in this tournament, and we've seen quite a few of the people try these stutters, or these Panenkas or whatever. And it's just, I do not like these penalties, to be quite frank. I think every now and then you see them and they work. Like, you know, Salah the other day, every now and then someone pulls it off, but in a big moment like this, in a big game, I really do wish players would just blast them like they used to. And the way he takes a big run up, and I think, yeah, he's going to fire this in. The keeper's got, no, this is going to be a great penalty. This is going to go flying into the top corner. No questions asked, no, never in any doubt, top penalty. But what does he do? He stops mid-run up, and as soon as he stops, I knew he was missing. As soon as he stops, it gives the keeper a chance. As soon as you do that, you give the keeper a chance to process, and because if you just blast it, they've just got no time to even. The keeper has to commit. They have to go one way or the other. But if you do that, you'll allow a lot more thinking time and a lot more of an opportunity. And because the penalty is not as strong, so it almost allows the keeper the opportunity to recover if they go the wrong way slightly as well. We've seen that happen in some instances. It's rare, but again, I didn't like the penalty until he stops. Then he said then the penalty is poor. There's no real sort of power behind it. Not really, no real direction, no real sort of commitment one way or the other. It's near enough straight down the middle. The keeper is able to do his job. You know, you still got, as a keeper, you still got to, you know, follow the ball, go the right way, which he does, and as a result, the penalty is saved. And from there, you know, the first half, I think, is very, very even. I think, you know, there's really sort of nothing separating them. Chances at both ends, but I think Norway did have that really good sort of chance at the end of the half, and we can see that, you know, how dangerous they could be on the counter. And the longer it went on, the more and more I thought, like, yeah, this could be Norway's day. And I thought that right from the start. You know, I think a lot of people did predict it, because I knew this would be a close game. I really thought it could go either way. I expected more from Brazil in attack though, and I think that was really where the game was let down. But they nullified them so well. and Norway, and the control, they kept control, and when their counter attacks come, they were clinical and they were fast paced. And the counter attack, Brazil just didn't have an answer to it, and there was the warning signs of that against Japan. But I think me and a lot of people maybe got a bit too carried away with what happened in the second half, and I think this keeps happening with Brazil every World Cup. And I told myself it would have happened this time, I wouldn't get too hyped up about them, but I really did think after that Japan game, okay, maybe they could do it, maybe they could get themselves maybe to that last four, or maybe we'll see the Brazil-England, or maybe even the Brazil-Argentina. Still didn't think they'd win it, but I was thinking now they are much more convinced by them. But you know, in the second half, I think the story was, you know, no João Pedro. I always thought this was a worry before the tournament. I think it would have been a perfect game for him to come off the bench. But no João Pedro was always going to be an error, I thought, with the squad selection. And as much as I love Ancelotti, that is on him, the team he picks. I don't understand why Neymar's there. Neymar comes on in the second half, and I know he gets his last ever World Cup goal, which I imagine that'll be, but ineffective. I think they needed so much more than what he can offer now at his age and his level that he's been playing at for the last 4 years. So, you know, it very much felt like, you know, early on, the theme in the second half, the theme from the first half continued very even. You know, chances at both ends. And Brazil early on, Endrick has a massive chance and he has to score there, really. You know, he gets it around the defender, but he just sort of doesn't quite connect right and drags it wide. From there, that was a big moment for Brazil. You can see, like, he knew afterwards he should have scored. You know, everyone in the stadium thought that was in, and everyone was just sort of. I feel like after that, it was a case of after that miss, it was almost like, yeah, I'm not sure this is going to be Brazil's day here, you know, because that was a golden opportunity gone to waste. But then, you know, we see that from that moment, I think, you know, Norway have got the upper hand, I feel, and I feel it's them that's taking the game to them. I feel it's them that's having the counter attacks. Brazil are sort of hanging on a bit, and I feel it's Norway that are really forcing the issue, really looking for this winning goal. And I was thinking, yeah, you know, even in the first half, the way the sort of second half of the first half was, I was thinking, yeah, this could be a smash and grab, this could be like a 1-0 either way. And that's very much what it was looking like in the second half. I thought Norway could get one here. And you know, the longer it went on, you know, we see that cross come in, Harland can't quite get there. But eventually, 80 minutes in, big time to score. And we knew then Norway were through. We knew then that they would see it out, that Brazil wouldn't really have an answer to it. There just not been enough in that attack today to be able to do it. Schürrloff puts a good ball in for Harland, and Harland's there. This time he meets it, his head, but I don't know what Gabriel's doing there. His marking is not good. He kind of almost backs off him. He kind of gives him that space to run onto it, and I don't really understand what Gabriel's doing there. Really poor, really disappointing from a defensive point of view for Brazil as well, because defensively there wasn't good enough in this game. The attack was toothless, and defensively just didn't have the organisation. That's, you know, it'd be really disappointing for them this tournament. But yeah, Harland slots it home, a massive goal. This is the biggest goal that sort of Norway scored, and this is where we really knew that, okay, yeah, this team are serious. They're going to knock Brazil out. And then, you know, Brazil, you know, and fair play to them for this. I you know, commend them for this, because so many teams, even at this late on when they go 1-0 down in the game, they try to, you know, it's do or die. It's knockout football. You know, they knew Brazil, okay, we've got probably like 8 minutes of time to score, or else we're out. You know, and they didn't try and walk the ball into the net still. They didn't, you know. There's no, like, you know, tactic style of play. They just went for it, and you know, I think that's what you have to do. Fair play to them. There's nothing else they could do. They went for it, and as a result, loads of spaces left open. And Schürrloff's able to get another ball into Harland. This time he's able to take the touch, and he's able to take a lovely shot right in to the back of the net. And from there, 2-0 up, heading into the added time. We knew then it would be Norway win. But you know, Brazil, the game did not stop. We carried on. You know, there was 7 added minutes and ended up running over the 100 minute in the end because of stoppage time on top of the stoppage time. You know, they give Brazil as much time as possible to get back into it. I don't think this should be a penalty. This foul has given us a penalty. I think both players go for the challenge, and one comes off slightly better. Okay, there's a slight elbow in there, but I still think it's enough of a natural position. I think, you know, they're really unfortunate to have been given a penalty against Norway. Luckily, it didn't end up affecting them too much. Neymar, of course, steps up, takes a penalty. Does enough to get the penalty in, but we sort of knew as soon as the whistle went that Norway kicked back off, the full-time whistle would surely go. But you know, Brazil, there's almost one moment where we thought, oh, they're going to have another counter attack here. I'm just thinking, surely not, surely. But this tournament does love its late goals. But I hope Norway see it out, and massive fair play to them, and the fans as well at full-time, fantastic as they have been so far this tournament. Arguably the fans of the tournament. You know, they're one of the teams of this tournament. It's one of the stories of this tournament. Harland's right up there among the top scorer. That's going to be a real race for top scorer now. Norway have shown that, you know, they're going to go deep enough in this tournament for Harland to be able to win that. And, you know, they're scoring goals. They're organised defensively. They're capable of controlling games. There's nothing more they can do really to sort of prove themselves. I think every aspect of their game is strong. I think they're going to be a threat for anyone, and we play them next. And well, I'm up for it. After last night's game, as I speak about in the England video, we should not be fearing anyone. But equally, neither do Norway. They've knocked out the 5-time champions. Brazil, was always one of the favourites for the tournament. But yeah, seriously, Norway, what a story! It's a fantastic team. They're so impressed by them. And Brazil, underwhelming again. Another disappointing tournament. 5 of the last 6, they've been knocked out by a European side at this sort of stage, and not even in the sort of quarterfinals stage, or then we had the semi-final against Germany. But you know, so often they've gone in as favourites. This time they didn't go in as heavily fancy, but they certainly had their admirers, and I think they've grown, like myself included, as the tournament's sort of gone on, because they seem to have grown into it. First game against Morocco, they were second best but got a draw, you know, and then against Scotland and Haiti, okay, 3-0 wins, but you know, that's one thing. But then to go and do it in the knockout stage against Japan, coming back, people are on side now. I think a lot of people are starting to believe in Brazil again, especially with Ancelotti there at the helm. But this game was just, I thought they was underwhelming. I thought they lacked the quality in attack and defence. You know, Vinicius Junior in this game didn't have the impact that he's had for the other games of the tournament. I thought, you know, and to not even make the quarterfinals, to go out to round 16 is a new low, I feel, for them. I know that, like, this is always going to be a hard game and always going to be a close game, but for Brazil, the expectations are always high, so there's going to be a lot of, you know, I'm sure this is not going to go down well there. And it does, you know, it feels, you know, another underwhelming tournament, another World Cup they're not going to win. And it's been, you know, what have we been next World Cup? 26 years since they've last won it, which is a long time for the record holders, but wasn't to be. It's not their day right now. It's not their kind of period. It's like, you know, we see so many more teams. Just look at the different, you know, you're going to previous World Cups and they'll be okay, there's maybe 5 teams that can win this or whatever, you know, like they're the favourites, it'll be one of them sort of 5. But now there's so many better teams. There's these sort of teams before that were just average, middle of the range teams. They're top teams now. Norway are a top team, but we look at so many remainder of the teams of the tournament. I mean, I think there's the obvious standout favourites, but really, we've seen upsets, we've seen so many twists and turns. I think this could be anyone's tournament. There's never a tournament where there's going to be a bit of an outside winner. I think it's this one. This tournament has been fantastic. The games are just getting better and better, and the surprises keep coming, the great games keep coming, the late goals. You know, I think it's only a matter of time probably before we see an extra time in this round 16 set of games as well. And the games just keep coming. The games are just getting better. They just keep getting better and better. And I'm really looking forward to tonight as well. Spain versus Portugal. It just keeps getting better and better. This. So like, I hope everyone's enjoying this tournament as much as me. It's actually, you know, exceeded expectations. This World Cup. It has been overall. Yeah, there's always going to be controversies, but the games, 90% of the games have just been a magnificent watch since it's got to this knockout stage. So yeah, massive fair play to Norway. 2-1 winners against Brazil. What a game, what a story.